My name's Jason Dobko. I'm a tattooer of 17 years, and I have my own shop, Good Times Tattoos, in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Yeah, I chose Good Times as a name for my business because it's kind of feel good, but it's also, to me, it's sarcastic because when you get tattoos, it's not always a good time, but I want to make the experience a good time when you come to Good Times. And you're not always gonna be laughing. It's not a clown school or anything like that. But I really enjoy tongue-in-cheek jokes, having fun with people, chatting, and generally having a good time. Good Times ended up starting when I left my original shop that I learned at in 2014. This marks my 10 years as Good Times Tattoos. It's always just been me. Had guest spots, had a couple friends come sit in while they transitioned to open up their own shop. But it's chiefly just been me working hard, doing my own thing for about 10 years now. What really drove me to become a tattooer initially wasn't even tattooing. It was working in construction, working hard jobs where eventually your body's gonna run down because you're doing flooring, or I did siding and concrete work, and that concrete job was actually the definite point in my life where I was like, I loved all the detail work. I loved the parts of the job where I needed to be creative and kind of work with what I had in front of me. You know, you can't change the landscape of a backyard or whatever. You just got to work with what you have and make it beautiful. I ended up having a family friend. He knew all sorts of folks with tattoos. He knew I was into art, and it was something that I had been driven to do from a young age, but I didn't really know what I would do as a job that I could make money and make a living and enjoy myself at the same time making art. But eventually, seeing the work that tattooers were doing, I was like, I can definitely make that happen, even though I hadn't done a tattoo or been exposed to all that much at the time. What pushed me towards the style that I do right now in tattooing is actually seeing my tattoos age. I've been tattooing 17 years now, and I've been saying to people I like tattoos that look like tattoos. So the styles that have black lines, black shading, a little bit of skin, you want some color, throw some color in there. That always makes it a little bit more unique. But as far as the style goes, have those traditional elements in it. Even if you are doing a realism tattoo, I want it to look like it can last for your lifetime, right from day one. Going from employed and even wanting to go into tattooing and choose specifically an art career directly relates to my parents and how they raised me. My dad, I wouldn't say drilled into us, but he made sure we had a good work ethic. We were able to show up on time, be respectful, we're taught manners. My mom took care of us chiefly, and then eventually ran her own business. So seeing one parent work super hard, blue collar worker, it kind of pushed me towards the construction-y, did siding for a bit. There was always an element that escaped me, and it was the art. And it's actually what my dad did. He went from his high school days to draftsman school for a short period, abandoned it because potentially there'd be no money. And then he went into the blue collar trade area, never to return to being a paid artist. He's a good painter, really good illustrator, but it's always stuff that he never got paid for. He didn't pursue an art career. So that kind of inspired me to learn from, I don't know if it's a mistake, because he had a family, you got to make money, but learn from his experience of his early pivot away from art. And I wanted to, as early as possible, get into an art career and follow the kind of the same line of passion that my dad had for art, and then use the same sort of spirit of self-making that my mom had as well. I wasn't really exposed to tattoos very early, but when I initially saw them, I actually wasn't impressed by them. There's a lot of work out there that's not good, and especially when I was younger, the time when I would have seen them, it was like mid to late 90s, and there were like not really any great tattoo magazines, and seeing them out in the wild, you'd see it on like a friend. They got it from another friend, and it was just poor quality work. I was never excited about tattoos until I started seeing quality work, seeing artists create a tattoo that looked like they applied themselves. They applied their knowledge. They had the craftsmanship to apply their art to the skin. And it also, like, after a while, it looked good. The other mediums that I'm into outside of tattooing is actually pretty varying. I really like sculpting. I really like doing realism or somewhat realism. I work at small scale or life size. And that's something that I've been doing on and off for almost 20 years. And prior to that, painting and drawing and sketching and that sort of stuff. I never built up the skills as if I was going to be an illustrator or anything like that. I just enjoyed it. Eventually though, when I did become an apprentice, or at least started hanging around a tattoo shop, that's when I became serious about really learning. And that's where I probably started to go a little bit more away from doing sculpting and physical work, creating things. It's something I still like to do, but these days I'm focusing mostly on tattooing and the art that will garner me a tattoo. My process, specifically in tattooing and dealing with my clients, is I prefer to set up an in-person consultation, get them to come into the shop, and we just chat about their idea. I let them explain in their own words the scope of their idea, whether it's a simple idea or they want a big back piece, and there's lots of questions for me to ask. And I'm pretty proud of my ability to pick people's brains. I know what questions will circumvent a problem design-wise in the future. For example, even a simple pinup. You get a pinup tattoo, real easy. Well, let's talk about their hair, their hairstyle, their hair length. Are they wearing glasses? What era are they from? What clothing? Do you want color? Are we doing anything revealing? All those little details that I've learned to incorporate into my question asking process during the consult is something that really helps me make sure that once someone comes into the shop, I have everything figured out beforehand. I'm well prepared. So my aim is just to make them happy, make sure they leave with a smile on their face, or maybe not with a smile on their face for the longer sessions. They'll feel good about the work that we did on them, knowing that I listened to them. Favorite part of the process of actually making a tattoo from start to finish is actually, for me, it's the start and the finish. Where I'm actually putting pen to paper, I really like using just like a straight pen or marker or whatever, something that's permanent that you can't just erase or think about that this decision is going to change. That way my initial idea is strong. I haven't noodled around, trying to sketch things out. The silhouette's strong, and then going from there, get it to size, and having that initial concept become alive is probably the most exciting part. Bringing that idea all the way to completion, that's definitely the work. Getting to the point where I am just getting to admire it. Let's say I'm watching my client look at their tattoo in the mirror and seeing them go through and notice the different things is definitely, that's the rewarding part. The tools that I use, I aim to first support tattooing, second, get a good quality product. And what I mean by supporting tattooing is that more often than not, I want to support a company that's run by tattooers, for tattooers. And tattooing is incredibly wasteful as far as all the single-use items we use. These days, I'm definitely leaning more towards green products. I definitely prefer going for more of a traditional approach that my efficient setup kind of leads to an efficient tattoo. So there's a huge scope that you end up having to deal with. And the major challenge, I think, for any business owner is dealing with people and making sure that you're on the same page, having the ability to know when there's a gap, whether it's like you need to awkwardly ask the same question 5 times until maybe you have 5 different angles of the same question. That way you get the full scope of the answers that you're looking for. Or it's a matter of have an understanding of where that person is coming from. Favorite piece that I have in my entire career is actually on my wife. We're going to be adding some of the final touches to it. There's all sorts of subject matter that I'm really into. It's all Japanese. There's pretty traditional background on it. Good amount of black in it. It has a nice bold look to it. It's actually both of her full legs. The subject matter within it, it has good relatable meanings. The overall design of it, I'm really proud of. Majority of it's free-handed, so I just drew it on with markers. As far as like how long it took, we did short sessions. There's like 40 sessions on just her leg. So we worked hard on it, and at this point, I'm looking forward to having it be complete. And later today, we'll be doing just that. What I've taken from tattooing as a life lesson that I've had drilled into me year after year, I've realized that I'm the expert because I have the experience. And for me to expect people around me to have the same experience or knowledge or even vision just isn't a reasonable expectation. Greatest achievement or proud moment that I've had in tattooing, and it's probably both the same thing in tattooing and running my business, is actually having it for 10 years and it being successful every year. I mean, having it for 10 years is definitely just a significant portion of my life. It kind of sets me on a path that I could probably do this another 10 years. So I definitely got a plan for the future at good times. It's not completely solidified, but right now I'm happy where I'm at. I have a 400 square foot space, which is a little bit bigger than my last one. And I want to have this be my like home away from home studio. So I can come here, do some painting, have a little spot to do some sculpting. That way my home life can be a little bit less tattooy, less, every surface piled with paper. The thing I'm looking forward to the most actually is being able to have more than one person in here. That way I can maybe host a party or host an event, have a group of people come for walk-ins. That's the stuff that I'm stoked for. The advantage of even being in the building that I'm at, there is a lot of service folk here. It's a block from a lot of really nice places downtown Saskatoon. The foot traffic outside, there's a lot of it compared to the last spot that I was at. And having just that little bit extra exposure, having more eyes on me, having folks see where I'm at, and being able to share the space with them is definitely something that I'm really looking forward to. So if you want to find out where I'm at online, you're going to want to search my name, Jason Dopko. Everything will come up. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, I'm on YouTube. Go to J Dopko Tattoo or SK Good Times Tattoos on Instagram. There's a little link tree link there. It has all my contact info there. Even if you went to goodtimestattoos.com, it's the same thing.